So let me ask you, since we spoke last, what's been different, or has there been anything different?
Different.
I don't think different because we were talking a lot about specific instances with alcohol.
Mhm.
Um, and we haven't drank in the last week at all.
Okay, so the fact that you haven't drank, what's the ripple from that? Have the energy in the relationship different? Things good, bad, boring? Like,
Everything's been really great. It was really interesting, some of the thoughts you brought up, just how we could tackle just regular life situations in a different way and in a more positive way off the bat, I think.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
um, things have been good in the last week, so no conflict. What what do you guys want to work on individually? So Brianna, let's start with you.
Sure. I think I would still like to, obviously when we get together with friends or family, we will have a drink or two, but I would like to work on owning my own. I don't know if it's necessarily a trigger, but the fear I get around alcohol when I start to feel unsafe, even though it's unrelated, um,
Hmm.
and being better at communicating that. Um, I feel like I've tended to be a little passive when I first bring it up. So just
Yeah.
being more honest and real, like I'm just starting to feel this way.
Have you do you go to Al-Anon, or have you been to any of those Al-Anon meetings?
I was going to a codependency group, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
But the same like 12-step format?
Yeah, same thing. It was just through the local church. I think I went for 2 or 3 years. That helped immensely.
Yeah.
Um, but I think when I was going to that, it was in the middle of whether I should stay or leave in
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
relationship, and then ended up leaving for my benefit, moving a ways away from where that group met, and then the healing kind of continued through like my one-on-one therapist here in Pittsburgh. But I'm gonna be honest, I think it's been a while since I've let someone into my life,
Hmm.
and in those instances where you're hanging out or like we chatted last week on vacation, having a beer on the beach,
Right.
those are new experiences for me, so it's made me realize, like, there's still healing to go through, and how do I tackle that, and
What experience do you need to give yourself and body with alcohol being around you, where it slowly won't be as activating? Do you know what I'm saying? What do you need for
yeah,
yourself?
I
'Cause
think I need to.
you're not asking Tanner to like completely not drink ever. That's not what you're doing. That's all.
No, no. I mean, I like to have, like, glasses of wine and drinks and things, we go out
Yeah.
for cocktails, but I think I need to start building up happier, positive memories around events like that, and, um, it's almost kind of like I cause an argument off the bat the way I first bring it up. So,
Mm,
sometimes
yes.
even when I think of, like, the beach vacation when he was just having a few beers, we're on our last day of vacation too,
Hmm.
um, we argued over it, so it doesn't feel like a good experience, and
Right.
so
Wait,
how
how did you bring that up?
I think we were sitting at dinner, and I was like, "Oh, you're drunk?"
Oh, like the tone, so like the subtle tone.
Yeah, it was the tone, and then we got to a place where I was like, I was trying to explain, like, my head just goes into life or death, like, I start freaking out, and it's not you, it's me, and I know that, but I don't know what to do, but by the time we get there, he's already irritated, and it's just
And that's what I want to work on is like when I'm in the moment, being better in the moment, not adding fuel to the fire,
Right.
trying to step out of my feelings and like into her shoes, because when I do that after the fact, I'm like, oh yeah, this makes total sense. Like,
Yeah.
of course, she feels like that around alcohol, like anybody would. I would. Um, so, so yeah,
Do you
you know,
do you
I don't know how to practice that either. Do I go and get, you
Yeah,
know?
no, I mean, I'll tell you, and it's not like some like magical thing that no one knows. I mean, it's all about putting reps in. I
yeah.
can be very reactive as well, and for me, one of the things I'm working on, I actually posted it today as one of my priorities for 2024. always, no matter what, take a beat before my response. So it doesn't matter if I'm talking to the barista or I'm talking to my partner. I can be reactive. I'm an Aries. I jump to anger. The whole knee jerk default of who I used to be kicks in very fast, especially if I'm activated, right? Or I may not be a dick, but I could be very logical. So then I turn into a lawyer and I get very strategic, right? And it's like, what? I'm not doing anything wrong, but let me prove so just take a beat. And it's like, she said something, I feel kind of activated, just take a beat and then respond, and that response, I get, and it may still be a response, like you may still be annoyed or whatever, but it's going to be like exponentially calmer, and it's not going to be a reaction. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the practice for both of you. I mean, it's not just you. If both of you can promise, whatever we're talking about, just take a beat, put an emotional speed bump there, and then express.
I like that.
It would change everything, and then it feeds into each other. So like, if her tone was a little different, like if she was like, "Oh, you're drunk," that's very different than, "Oh shit, you're drunk," like that subtle tone. And if she put a beat and then was a little more neutral about it, then it wouldn't activate you as much. And then on top of that, if you put a beat and then you're like, "Oh, I know where this is coming from. She's not accusing me, but this is hard for her because of her story." There's no problem. It's all love. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think it's the practice of getting there. So it's like going to the gym. It's not just doing it once and hoping to see abs. I think it's like, okay, this is now our agreement on how we're going to engage with each other. We are both going to be responsible and put a beat before we respond.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. It's a game changer.
Yeah.
I think I too, like, before I even mention anything, I let it fester for a little bit. Like, it's not that easy to tell when someone's had a drink or two, and he's a good, funny guy, so it's like nothing bad ever happens. He's just funny drunk. He's having a few beers or whatever, but
So when you let it fester, what happens is now you're going to come in loaded because you've been letting it build up, right? So there's this holding back of the slingshot, basically.
Right. And then it comes out with that.
And it's like, boom. It's like, what's going on? Yeah. So
It
with that,
comes
what would your responsibility be? To do what? What's the to do?
Well, because I need to speak up sooner, and then that it comes out of a place of fear too, because in a part of my story, if I did stand up for myself, I would just get hurt down. But like, I wasn't given the place to have an opinion or an emotion or a place to have feelings, whether it was right or wrong. Like, I don't think people's feelings are right or wrong ever. It's just how someone feels, and you could make someone feel some way on accident.
Yeah.
But in the situation I was in, my feelings were never real. So it comes like, that's another place of fear that I get nervous to say anything because I don't know if it would be worth it, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, of
and
course.
Then I wait too long, and then
sorry, go ahead.
I should say I wait too long, and it like almost boils over and gets to that life or death moment where I'm like, oh, I have to say something or else it's just going to get bad.
Yeah. And Brianna, I want to say what you're talking about is very common. Most of us did not grow up in spaces where we were allowed to express ourselves or how we felt, or if we were hurt. And if we were, it was met not with two hands, but sometimes, maybe physical abuse, maybe slamming of a door, whatever, right? So you may not feel safe still as an adult, and I think that's fair. Tanner, what do you think about that and that part of her story, what she struggles with?
Yeah, I mean, I totally feel for her, and I can put myself in her shoes and understand her stance. Again, going back to kind of what I wish I would be better at is in the moment, instead of telling her, "Hey, I'm not your ex," because that certainly doesn't help any.
You're definitely not it.
Right, but I mean, I don't, that's also a jab at you where
Sure.
If I did take that beat, okay, we've been here, I understand her situation, All she needs is a hug.
Yeah.
Give it to her.
And,
Like,
but listen, it is hard to execute that. I I was dating this woman for about 6 months, and she had trauma in her life, and she can sometimes be reactive. We got into this big fight, and she told me that, listen, if I ever get very emotional or angry, I want you to just come and hug me, right? So she gave me instruction early on, and we got into this big fight, and she's sitting on the couch, and I'm sitting 2 feet away from her, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing? I told you when I'm angry, like come hug me." But she's saying it like this, and I was like, I want to, but how do you hug someone like cussing at you? It was so hard, and
oh my, I can totally relate to that. I mean, even like the last time we were talking about just arguing about being on the shitter too long.
yeah.
When we were going out the door and into the car, where it was like a silent car ride for the first half of the car ride, I was like, just apologize, say you're sorry.
Right. Like in your head, you're saying to yourself.
Yeah, I'm saying it to myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And then she asked me to apologize, and then but
well, that's exactly the thing, is when because I knew, because she gave me instruction months before that if she's activated, come hold her and it'll melt her and it's all good. But her demanding and saying, "The fuck you doing? Get over here and hug me." Like, well, I'm not gonna hug you now. You're like commanding me to hug you, and so which is what I'm talking about is exaggerated, but that's kind of what happened with you guys. Is her saying, "Give me an apology," and you're saying, "Well, if you're gonna demand it, I don't feel like giving you an apology."
Right.
You know? And then we talked about this last week, Brianna. It's not so much the apology that meant something for you, right? Like what was, and just remind me, or all of us again, what was underneath the apology? Meaning, why did you want him to apologize so bad? Because it wasn't really the apology.
I think sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it meant something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was just more coming back to common ground. Like we were running out the door, and it made me feel comfortable again. Not like I kind of felt scolded a little bit, I guess, and then I felt really uncomfortable, and I wanted to feel comfortable, and so I was looking to him for just to breathe, like a deep breath.
Yes.
I guess.
You were looking for him to relieve your anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why. Because then, if he said I'm sorry, there's okay, and then all the things tied to that. Okay, he's not going anywhere, or whatever fears you have. I think a lot of this with couples is learning to self-soothe. So for you, if you are needing things like an apology, or why didn't you text me back? It's been 24 seconds, or whatever it is that you need. It's I'm exaggerating, but it's going to be something that you, again, the beat, and ask yourself, okay, why am I asking for an apology? Can I just self-soothe? He's in the car with me. He's not going anywhere. This doesn't mean the relationship is over. It doesn't mean he's cheating on me. It doesn't mean he loves me less. It doesn't mean that I'm less sexy. Like whatever. Oh, it's my stuff. I have anxiety. I need someone to kind of like make me feel okay. The question for you, and this is part of your growth, is can you start practicing making yourself be okay? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So you say that, and like immediately in my head I go, oh no, I want to be the one to take her anxiety away.
That's called codependency.
That's very codependent of you.
Yeah.
That was like me saying I want to take my ex's addictions away, and maybe it'll be normal.
Yeah, sure.
And for many feel this way. I could relate to you too. Why? What do you get from taking her anxiety away? What? Because then you get to wear the cape, or why do you want to do that?
Oh wow. Well, yeah, I definitely want to make her feel better, but when you said wear the cape, I think you hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it.
To save, to fix, to
hey, come to me. I've got the answers.
Right.
I've got solutions. Yeah.
Right. And with relationships, many go there. Generalization, but most men go there trying to fix things. I got answers, and a lot of times it's not about that. It's just about being there with no answers, but holding space. And here's how I would look at it, which would help me. if I put on my cape and quote unquote save her, I'm stripping her chance to grow. So her self-soothing herself, which is it's going to be a practice like anything else, and her getting used to that, you're taking that away by saying, "Here, let me fix this for you," or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it
For
doesn't it
sure.
doesn't mean that you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to apologize then because I'm taking something. You need to sit with that and be okay with me not apologizing. It's not that. But if she is demanding an apology, being curious and really transparent, like, hey, I have no problem apologizing, but you're asking for this. How are you feeling? Where's that coming from? You know, and then you kind of sitting with that and saying, oh, it's coming from these places. I have a lot of anxiety. I need it's my responsibility. I can self-soothe this. I know you're not going anywhere. And I think, Tanner, you can support, you could champion, you can hold her, you can do all these things, but try not to rescue her. Try not to save her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Point.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I go a lot is I think the relationship's going to end.
I was just gonna say not to pivot, but I actually feel like I have a good solid ground. Like I've never felt more confident that no matter what little tiff we get into, like we'll work it out and it will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say on the opposite end, if you don't mind, when we get into small arguments, oftentimes I feel like you do have a longer repercussion of feeling like weighted down by it and then getting very emotional and worried that like you always say, I don't want to screw this up.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure. I've had a couple of relationships.
Let me just dude, that's such a powerful, it's such a powerful, like, loaded sentence. I don't want to screw this up. It kind of makes me sad because, in that sentence, it tells me how much pressure you put on yourself, the weight that you carry. You understand?
Say that again?
The weight that you carry. So when I hear I don't want to screw this up,
Yeah.
it makes me feel like you're carrying a lot of weight. Like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to make this work.
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, I love her
Yeah.
beyond any reason. But I've also had a couple relationships in the past where the carpet's just been pulled out from under me. And I'm sitting there like going, oh shit, what could I have done better?
Yeah.
Instead of, well, hey, the relationship expired, like you say.
Well, that tells me that you probably still hold a lot of blame from previous relationships, or maybe you're blaming yourself a lot. I don't know. If not, then because of those relationships, you're trying to be extra in this one. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think I carry the blame. I don't think I'm extra. I don't know. You think I'm extra?
You're better than anyone else I've ever dated, which feels extra.
Yeah, I think I carry.
Blame.
Blame.
So like blame, past residue from previous relationships, right? So blaming yourself for what?
Yeah, for the relationship not working. For I guess, well, when it comes down to it, not being the guy that the other person wanted. Right.
Right. How does that tie to this relationship?
Well, because those relationships, again, it was like one of them, we literally had like our first fight, and then she like skipped town. So
that's like
so what's that?
That's like traumatic.
Yeah, that one sucked.
Yeah.
But
so with
it led me to her, so it
with
was
that one, how did you internalize that? So for one fight, she bounced. You're probably like, "What?" And how did you internalize that, or did you?
Yeah, I mean, I was a lot of I should have given her space to speak up if she was feeling a certain way. I should have done X, Y, and Z better.
Yeah.
A lot of I should have done this. I should have done that. Yeah.
What do what do you think about someone who, after one fight, bounces?
Yeah, that's. I was gonna say in the same breath. Then I flip the script and I like want nothing to do with that person. You
Well,
know.
yeah, but also the person might have left because she doesn't have tools. Maybe she was, this was too much. She didn't have capacity. Like, whatever the reason. I don't think all the shoulds that you said. I don't know if that would have prevented her from leaving. You guys would have
Yeah.
fought again eventually.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it seems like you carry a lot of I don't want to fuck this up. Um, just a heavy burden of not the fear that she may bounce, the fear that this may not work out.
I'm also divorced, so
Mhm.
comes from that as well.
In what way? How does divorce affect this?
Again, just like I label them as failed relationships,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I should view them as expired relationships.
yeah. Um, I wonder if you have to kind of forgive yourself for whether it's divorce or other relationships. I feel like you've been really hard on you.
So you're right, but I have I also have to tap myself on the back as I have come a long way.
Yeah.
I I've been in therapy on and off for since my divorce, so
Mm.
almost 10 years.
Mm.
And each time I would start therapy back up, the line I would use is nobody hates me more than me.
Mm.
But like I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
Like I love me. But yeah.
That's
So
cool.
that's cool.
It,
Yeah.
it also
But I'm still very,
it was
very
also
hard on myself.
different this time.
I'm sorry, I was stepping on you. What
You
were you
loving yourself is what's also going to be different this time
saying?
Mhm.
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a very big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
When
what
we
do you
in
think I
I was gonna say when we were in the book club, the first most attractive thing I've noticed about you, other than you're handsome, was that I forget what exercise it was, but it was either describing like your values you see within yourself, and you said the first thing you said was, "I'm a high value man,"
Mm.
and you saying that to me was like, nice, go
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Hey, when you guys started doing the book club, did you guys have initial attraction to each other? Like, was it obvious? Were other people being like, "Oh my God, these guys are flirting," or was it like not till the very end?
So one of my really good coworkers was in the book club, and she noticed because she knows me.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think outside of that, I don't think it was. Maybe I don't know. When people noticed we were dating after it ended, most were like, "What?" Because our group
Yeah.
still gets together. Actually, we
Nice.
just did like an escape
Escape
room
room,
in
yeah.
Pittsburgh, and
Oh,
Yeah.
so
so beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about you guys? You guys are what about how many months or a year?
6 months,
Okay, 6 months.
7 almost.
Yeah.
And
What?
so I mean, this is new, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
exciting, and I mean, I love this time. You guys are just exploring each other, and it's like dopamine, and um, it's that whole under the bleachers thing, right? And here's the truth, and I hate to be like a Debbie the Downer, but it's also kind of what's getting in the way. I think you guys really want this. I think you guys, I mean, I could tell that you guys are, head over heels for each other. Um, there's also a chance this may not work out, right? So I'm saying that for you guys to look at the monster and realize it's not a monster, because if you don't look at that, and if you just keep believing in, oh, happily ever after, and this has to work out, and I'm different this time, and this is amazing. I don't want to lose this. The pressure that this relationship that's only been 6 months, it's just a lot of pressure, and then it strips of fun and presence and getting to know each other. There's going to be differences. You guys are going to, of course, have fights, and you guys are going to activate each other. Um, I would not look at this as like this has to be the one kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just so much pressure on each other in the relationship. It's 6 months in. Take it a day at a time, and you guys are still learning so much about each other. Yeah.
I always struggle with in whatever it is the how. Like, how do I actually put that into practice? How do I not think about the elephant in the room, when it's standing right there? Or it's a bad example. Like, there's no elephants in the room. We talk about everything, but like
fearing the worst.
Yeah. How do I not fear that? How do I switch my thinking pathways, or whatever you want to call it, to where I don't worry about that?
I think being aware of when you feel fear or panic that this may not be forever, or that you did something wrong, calming yourself down, talking yourself off the ledge, the radical acceptance that nothing is promised, nothing's forever. You know what I'm talking about? Like, and then also being super grateful and appreciative and feeling so lucky and happy that you have this, and that you guys are building something, it's not an on and off switch.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Unfortunately, I wish it would. Yeah.
Sure.
I've actually never heard you talk about the argument situation with leaving, and it makes more sense hearing it with how you are feeling like a day after we have a disagreement or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys have a lot more than you think you do. So what I'm saying is, a lot of times, people talk things to death, or they make issues bigger than they really are. And from what I see, the biggest issue is that the biggest issue here is the pressure for this to be forever. The biggest issue here is for you being scared that this is not going to work out, when there's no problems, and these fights that you guys are having are just normal, everyday kind of fights. You guys are very also aware of what's activating you. If you do explode, you come back, you apologize. Like, so the repair is really good. There's rupture, there's repair. There's nothing in this where I'm like, oh, there's some big problems here. People aren't taking ownership. People aren't being, people are being defensive. None of that is happening. The biggest problem is both of you guys being afraid that it's not going to be forever.
Yeah.
And that actually is not a problem, because the truth is, it may not be forever, or it may. I don't know, but there's no reason to take a black light to that.
Right.
I think too, I don't know if this makes sense where my head went, but when I ended my engagement with my ex a few years back, I convinced myself, how could I get to a place where I want to spend the rest of my life with someone for it to get so bad like it did, like the complete opposite, but still feel so passionately that we would figure it out. Like, how could I ever get there again? Like, to me, marriage is once in a lifetime feeling, saying yes to someone, and now I meet him, we get engaged, and I feel that tenfold, and it's scary to me almost, because I went through a long period of like, oh, I don't deserve to get married. Like, my parents have gone through divorces, and I remember I would always just be like, I don't want to go through what they went through, and I almost did, so I just shouldn't bother. Like, I just shouldn't go through that again. And here we are, like, wedding planning, and it's so exciting, and then I have that, like, oh, you don't deserve this, and this is hypocritical of who I thought of myself as, I guess. I don't know.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
We're both collegiate athletes. I think all athletes have imposter syndrome.
Oh.
Yeah. What would be? How would that? So explain how that would that affects you guys, or what does that have to do with the relationship, and how's it?
Well, like she was just saying, she doesn't think that she deserves
got it.
a relationship like this, and to a certain degree, like I can relate to that as well.
Yeah. Both of you, it's like both of you guys won the lottery and you can't believe it.
For sure. You're exactly right.
You don't believe what's happening. You're like so scared it's going to be over, instead of like, just go spend the fucking money. Like, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we
Go do some shit. It's like,
yeah,
oh my god, we won the
yeah,
lottery. Let's lock the house. What if people know? It's like all the fears.
yeah.
Um, yeah, you not feeling that you deserve this is valid, and that's something that I think you should work through, with a therapist, and how that's tied to worth, and all of that. But I was going to suggest, what if the engagement wasn't so lined with promise and happily ever after? What if the engagement is a celebration
Mm-hmm.
of how you guys met, how magical it is, and everything up until now? Like, you guys are celebrating the first 6 months of your relationship. That's it. Engagement isn't a promise forever. Oh my God, I'm married. Like all the stuff that society puts on engagement, and the whole happily ever after, which I think it can be damaging, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you guys are engaged. And that engagement is a celebration and ceremony of how far you guys have come and what you've built till now.
Mm-hmm. I
And
like
let it
that.
just be
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So here's the
yeah.
other thing. No one That's
Just
earned. No one can take that away. That's already earned. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it doesn't, when you say, okay, we're engaged now, oh my God, we can't fuck this up. We know marriage, and then we're married. Okay, every year that goes by, that means we really have to stay together. It's like your engagement is earned, and you guys have already earned that because of the 6 months of rupture, repair, and everything you guys have been through. And this is it. And then this is, then you guys get married, and then you guys celebrate that, and then you celebrate, like every anniversary you celebrate, that year. I think that's the way to do it, is to slow things down and be really mindful, and not like future trip. The
Hmm.
whole what if she leaves me? What if it just doesn't work out? What if one
Mm-hmm.
wants kids and the other one does? Like all that stuff.
I love that. I was actually reading, this is so random, but kind of applicable. I don't know if you're familiar with it at all, about the happenstance theory, but it's for career counseling. And it was like how our society kind of tells us since we're little, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Then you got to go to college and pick your
Oh
degree, and then you got to be that for the rest of your life. But the happenstance theory challenges that and is like, well, you have to learn to pivot, and you could like have plans but be flexible, and life changes, your interests change, and it's almost happenstance for relationships, I
no,
guess. Like, you
yeah,
celebrate the present. You can have like an idea of what you might want to do, but things happen, and you our dogs are having a zoomy attack.
They're over.
Have to pivot and change,
yes, yes.
whatever your plans might have been.
I love that. So instead of happily ever after, it's happenstance.
Yeah, happily ever happenstance right now.
The happily ever after is, I think, damn, it's too much.
Yeah.
So, like, and we have to get going, but that's the prescription, man. Is you guys are you guys are so scared that this is not going to work, that's becoming the thing that doesn't work. Like, that's the elephant. That's
You're-
what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing, but you guys are making something, and that's the thing that makes it put up. Get out of your head and just love each other and enjoy it. Like, you guys are, and that's great. Then there's no big problems.
yeah, except us getting in our own way.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes, but I also see that not only you guys are really loving to each other, but I also see you guys kind of on this journey of. I mean, this is why you guys did the workbook, right? You guys are on your own journey of things that you need to work on, wounds that need healing, um, patterns that may be unhealthy, your own fears, things that you believe you deserve, you don't like. That's all your own individual stuff. And so, as long as you guys continue to work on that, you guys are bringing a lot to the table as individuals, growing unique individuals, and it produces glue, and you guys are growing together.
Yeah.
What else could you ask for? That's amazing. That's it.
It is really lovely.
I would have never done this with like any of my exes.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it back. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mean publicly, like what we're doing, or you mean just in general, couples?
Publicly and private, none of it.
Oh,
Just
yeah. I mean, that's proof of change, man. That's proof of your openness.
yeah. she plays a role in that too. It's like
Yeah.
the comfortability,
Sure.
you know.
Hey,
Shut-
well, I was just I have to get going for my next meeting, but I just want to say thank you guys for being a part of this.
Thank
You know
you.
what I love this episode or this session is a lot of the couples, lots of heated, infidelity, lots of real quote unquote problems, and it's also refreshing to see a couple who don't have any big problems, but have legit, distortions and other things that are activating and all that. But the fact that you guys show up and want to work on this, that in itself, when there isn't anything really wrong, I mean, that's what I think everyone should be doing, using couples therapy not as a last resort, but as kind of like we go to the gym. Let's just
Mhm.
check in once a month, or let's go every other week because we're investing in our relationship, not because anything's wrong,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we like that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Thanks for calling.
yeah. So I'm really proud of you guys, and thank you for setting that example.
Well, thank you for your book club.
Yeah, seriously, thank you.
That's amazing. What a great
Will you
story.
marry us?
Yeah, we're let me know when you guys are doing it. I'll all right. Well, thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys soon. Email me. Let me know how things are, in a few weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
Check.
we definitely will.
Thanks
Thanks, John.
so much.
All right. Be well.
See ya. Bye.
You too.
Well, how could you not love those two? Wait, let me turn this off here. What a beautiful story. If you don't know their story, they met doing um, a book club for my workbook, Single on Purpose, and so um, it's just so it's. I mean, I'm so humbled that they're doing my workbook, and the whole workbook is about being single on purpose. And then 31 days, and on day 32, they got together and they've fallen in love. And 6 months in, and really trying to take ownership and doing everything they can to make this work. And nothing really, I think, is wrong other than their fear that something will be wrong, and then suddenly that's the thing that becomes the the biggest problem. And sometimes we just need to be reminded that things are good. Sometimes we just need to be reminded that we need to be in the present. And I love what she was saying about happenstance instead of, I think that's what she said, instead of happily ever after. Um, we get into things and then we start thinking, okay, this has to be forever. And, what are we going to name our kids? And we just jump into the future so fast. And a part of that is because maybe we found something that is so good we don't want to lose. And I get that. But by having that fear, we're going to end up losing the thing, And I think the prescription for them is to actually just enjoy what they have and don't think about the future, Anyway, thank you for listening. If you want to watch these, they're all on my YouTube. They air there first, and then you can catch them on my podcast. Be well.